if somebody is building an AI native company, you're maybe in a better spot than some companies which are bigger. They can do so much more things with 50 people compared to some, let's say, enterprises which have thousands of people.
Web professionals will exist as long as the internet exists. The only time we're gone is if the internet is gone, and we're going to have far bigger problems to deal with at that point.
Even if AI takes over everything and you can create a website in 2 prompts, people are still going to pay somebody to do those 2 prompts.
And something that people don't talk about enough is like, anyone can create a website now with AI. Anyone's been able to create a website for like ever at this point.
With all of that said, it's going to change a lot, I think, but I feel like that maybe some people who are just figuring out about AI today are maybe in a state which I was 3 or 4 years ago, where they're just kind of shaking and like they're paralyzed instead of figuring out how to create bridges. I kind of have a philosophy of, maybe even in politics, that it's much better to create bridges, because you cross a bridge, then something is good. Then you cross a bridge, then something is good. So you slowly build up your career, versus some people just get terrified and stand in front of the river and they're like, I'm done. I'm not going to do anything. And they just stop there because they've heard that AI is going to change everything. So they become paralyzed for 3 years, and then they don't learn anything. They don't do anything, and they just stay where they are at the moment.
That is true. That's the exact way that I see it. That's the exact view that I'm trying to echo more and more, is like, there's 2 sides of this. On one hand, this is absolutely going to change everything about everything that we do. Don't ignore that. I see certain Webflow developers kind of like, I think they kind of see it, get scared, and their reaction is denial. Of like, no, AI is stupid. You're not actually going to use this. This sucks. That's on one hand. And on the other side, it's not just going to be an overnight apocalypse. You know, we have clear data to prove this. Look, you mentioned WordPress, for example. How many people are still using WordPress? There's been better options, for a while. WordPress I have, love-hate relationship with, but like Drupal. People are still using Drupal. I don't know if you've ever had to use Drupal. If any Drupal,
migrate off of Drupal. I know, yeah.
Oh, it's garbage. But people are still using it today. My point is, no matter what happens, even if you can go ahead and create a better site than what you've created in Webflow in 2 prompts, things don't change that quickly. But more importantly, the way I see it, just like you said, there are a lot of things that you could do, but you pay other people to do them because you don't want to do them. Maybe because, like you said, with design and stuff, there are better people than you at it. Whether it's writing 2 prompts, whatever it may be, you can always find someone better than you. And something that people don't talk about enough is like, anyone can create a website now with AI. Anyone's been able to create a website for like ever at this point.
Yeah.
Wix, Squarespace, hello. There are so many, both you and I were creating websites as children. Yeah. Nobody was paying us to do so. Anyone can create a website. So why aren't they? Why isn't Upwork's website just a Squarespace site? That was just done by someone in their company because it's so easy and anyone can make a website now. Because here's the thing, you can show your grandmother a website that's just awful and say, look, Grandma, I made this website. She'll say, it's beautiful, honey. I love it. But if you show, your lead designer that website, they're going to say this looks like shit. And so even if anyone can do it and anyone possesses the tools to do so, the only person who's going to be able to do stuff at a professional level is the person who cares and the person who knows what's good and they know what's bad. And so that's exactly what I'm trying to echo to everyone here. I'm really glad to hear you say the same thing. It's don't, look the other way. This is serious. Things are changing. However, don't be so scared. You have nothing to be scared of. If you're a web professional, web professionals will exist as long as the internet exists. The only time we're gone is if the internet is gone, and we're going to have far bigger problems to deal with at that point. So very glad to hear you say that. And I guess Flow Ninja as a whole, and I want to dig into the rebrand. You have a big, beautiful logo behind you. But first I want to ask, what is Flow Ninja change, if anything, as a company in order to, let's say, keep up?
I mean, let's say practically everybody in the company has Claude, so that's an additional expense maybe, but whatever, like whether that's going to be Claude code of kind of for people to develop and like for people to become full stack. So that's, again, like next to everybody in the company from sales, marketing, developers getting access to Claude, we're slowly changing the roles, where I wouldn't say we're not going to have a Webflow developer role, but it's more of a, let's say, Webflow engineer or like a full stack engineer or whatever, because it's expected of you that you can solve anything. Previously, if you were a Webflow developer, you can just develop things, and maybe you have a JS developer you can tap into to help you out. You have a backend engineer who's going to set up your database. So you tap people's shoulders, and you have 5 people that are going to help you for things. Right now, we're expecting, let's say, of our development team to go ahead and use Cloud Code and to do everything. So you're going to be getting a project. You have full ownership. You need to know how to set up a database. You need to know how to develop custom items, and like you're going to use Claude for all of that. And Claude is going to be able to teach you live how to set up all of those things. But you're going to need to be more full stack. When it comes to designers, they're going to need to be more full stack in terms of understanding a little bit more about branding, marketing, and like positioning, and like that you have taste. And as you mentioned, that taste is your competitive edge with AI, so that designers can actually kind of do a lot more than just design pretty things, because anybody can, like AI can design pretty things. You need to start understanding how does that impact the users and to have the overall bigger picture. And we are maybe changing our trajectory in terms of hiring, where we're focusing a little bit more on efficiency and client relations, and like getting integrated with clients a lot more to understand what are all of the things we can help them with, instead of focusing on becoming the biggest kind of Webflow agency out there. And then at one point, maybe there's a smaller agency which uses AI, which can do things 10 times faster. So on our front, like focus is on efficiency and ensuring that we're not bloated as a company and that we can deliver all the results properly. And unfortunately, that means that everybody in the company has to transform again and has to do things faster and has to know like more things than they knew previously.
I think that is awesome. And I think that's something any company can apply, really. It's like, if you don't know, for example, you guys have a process. I know you're very serious about the process that you use in actually building sites for your clients. A lot of companies you see right now, I'm just going to give a really random example, whether or not it's a good idea, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bubble. We know Bubble, it's like a no-code app builder for the most part. They completely transformed their messaging. It's like, oh, this is how you build apps with AI now. They completely changed their company overnight. Generally, was that a good idea for them? I have literally no idea. But generally speaking, I don't think companies should do that. I think you have what you've been building. You have your competitive advantage. You can evolve it over time, but keep it. But how do you implement AI at your companies so that you're not falling behind, so that everybody knows what's going on? Is, I think, exactly that. Just get everyone access to Claude and say, hey, we expect you more now because you're a designer. 2 years ago, I never would have asked you to develop something or make a little prototype, just the design. But you can do that now. And I have, higher expectations of you, my employee, because we're giving you tools that enable you to do anything. And that's a way that you can really, I guess, organically let AI spread throughout your company instead of trying to like force it in where it doesn't belong. Very smart. I think that is how any company should go about implementing AI at this point in time. And my final one for you really is, so, I've had an agency before. You have an agency. You have a lot of friends who own agencies. Agencies love rebranding, like constantly, like every year, like we have a new website, we have a new this, we have a new that, all the time. And every time I see it as like, okay, cool, but you guys are just kind of having fun with this. It's a group of marketers, designers, developers who want to, show their balls, to say the least, be like, look what I got, look what we can make. So when I looked at your guys' rebrand, I'm like, I'm expecting right off the bat, it's another agency rebrand. But when I was reading a little bit more, it looks like you guys really put a lot of thought behind it and are really doing it to, I guess, future-proof yourselves and solidify who you are as a business. So it's a really purpose-driven rebrand. And I would love, and I think everyone else would love to hear too, why? First of all, what made you think, okay, we kind of need to, I guess, not necessarily reinvent, but solidify who we are? What led to that decision initially? And then walk me a little bit through the rebranding, how that went. And yeah, I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, one side is, yes, you see the fancy aspects. I mean, like in terms of the new logo and everything like that. So that's one part of it. But the other part is me trying to future-proof the business long term. And like, this is a huge bet that we've made because we have a lot of people who were involved in the process, and like, time will tell, is it a good thing or not? But realistically, we first have done a lot of interviews with our customers, and we tried understanding why do they like working with us, and like, why are they sticking to working with us? And I mean, like, things which were kind of always kind of apparent, like with that, were like speed, empathy. I mean, a lot of agencies say they're fast, but they're not fast. Empathy, a lot of agencies are cocky agencies, which are just gonna be like, as you mentioned, showing their balls off, and like whenever a client has a new request, they're gonna be, this is more money, we don't care, we're not gonna like work overtime or anything like that. So like they genuinely said like, you genuinely care about their business. Partnership was also a big thing. And maybe the final thing is like website operations. And like that's why we kind of created a category of web ops, because if we're selling ourselves as a Webflow agency and only as a Webflow agency, customers are going to look at us only as a vendor and like as somebody who's going to be doing the Webflow part. Versus realistically, we have about 50-60% of revenue coming from ongoing retainers. And those ongoing retainers don't come just because we just do development, because realistically we have a pod structure where we have a team lead, we have a QA, we have an account manager, project manager, we have a developer, we have a designer, we have SEO, content, illustration, animation, whatever you can think about for the website, we do it. And that's a bigger part of website operations. And I think that's the bigger problem we're solving for customers, because sometimes it's not even us doing the strategy, customers are doing the strategy, but you just need so many different roles in order to put the strategy back into your website. And if you're a CMO or a head of marketing, you don't want to go ahead and kind of try to find an animator. You're not going to try to find like a content writer or whatever and coordinate between 10 different agencies. Where we saw like that our customers like it is that they can get everything under the same roof. It's of course on one side cheaper, but it's also faster, and it ensures that they know, hey, Flow Ninja is managing our website. We can have maybe somebody managing our paid campaigns and media buying and whatever, and we can have somebody else manage like different parts of the business. But because in reality, sometimes we get to a point where head of marketing or like marketing people are worrying just about the website, but in reality, that's just 20% of their work. They have so many more things they need to do in their role in order to be successful at their company and in order to grow today. So we just want to show that we can handle all of the web ops kind of on our front, that we're going to own the website as a marketing asset, and we're going to help them unlock more revenue through the website by having it as a marketing asset. And that was the biggest thing that we wanted to show. And we wanted to show kind of how we're different than other agencies with the rebrand, because saying you can do everything is one thing, but scaling a company which can do things at that level is much harder. Which I mean, like if you have one customer, yeah, you can do everything. But if you have 50 customers like us, providing a good level service kind of for something like that is pretty hard. So that's why on the other side of the back end, we're slowly acquiring small percentages in other agencies, so that even we as a bigger company can, let's say, maybe focus on like Webflow, account management, and ensuring that customers are happy, but that we can also provide all of the other services like AEO, SEO, content, branding, design, and everything like that through specialized agencies, which are also nimble and small, which do amazing work through us directly to customers. So it's an interesting time, and hopefully we're getting that message across. So I don't know, what did you think from your perspective when you were kind of hearing about our rebrand and kind of how we're positioning on the market and why we're kind of changing our messaging and stuff like that?
I loved it. It made a lot of sense to me. Web ops, as you guys like, I feel like almost like I've heard that before, but I haven't. Like, did you guys come up with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's there is a term on Google, but it means something different. So that's what we kind of found out with interviews with our customers, because we saw that like some of our customers actually had a web ops manager. So it's like a website operations manager or whatever. So we're like, but customer actually has maybe a person which is like on a 70K payroll paying for somebody just to manage the website and all the vendors for the website and like all the things coming in and out. So that's where we first heard the term. And the more I started talking about it, the more I realized that that is actually what we do. Because if you say, hey, we do website design and development, then you have to say, hey, we do strategy, design, development, content, you have to say 20 different words. Versus web ops for me, I mean, like hopefully like the world is going to think the same way. It's like all the website operations that happen for a single website. And there's a lot of things that need to happen long term. That's going to be analytics and many, many different things.
To me, I thought it made perfect sense as soon as I saw the word web, because I know what DevOps is. And so
Yeah.
thinking DevOps, okay, web ops, basically we are the team that is going to deal with all of the operations, the management, the execution, everything for all of your everything on the web. I think that is very clear, very smart, and perhaps most importantly, very future proof in the sense of, if you are saying we're a Webflow agency, then exactly, if I'm your client, I would be thinking, okay, I'll call these guys for anything to do with Webflow.
Yeah.
What if we perhaps don't want to use Webflow anymore? Or, of course, even if we are, we still need a lot of other things. So then I would think, okay, I'm going to leave this agency because they're a Webflow agency and we want to do other stuff. Where you position yourself as web ops, it's basically saying everything that you need, we can help you for. If there's new technology, we're going to help you. You need a new hire, we're going to help you. Like, we are going to expand as your business needs it. That was what I immediately saw. I think that is a really smart, like, it's an evolution, not a drastic one. It's like a consolidation. And I think, let me know if you agree with this or not. The biggest takeaway is that what you did was you actually figured out, why do our clients like us? Because every agency, just like you said, they're reliable and they're your friendly partner and they help you with everything and they're this and that. Okay, fine. Everyone is like that. So if you use that as your positioning, you're just one in the crowd. Whereas every agency has something, whatever it's a result of the team and who the team is. If your clients feel like, I love you guys because I can bring you an idea and I'm going to get like a full fleshed, it's going to be perfect, exactly what I want it to, use that. Focus on the fact that you are the partner to take idea to execution. If your clients love you because you manage everything to do with their web presence, web ops, I think this is how people should look at branding, instead of like, how do we make ourselves look cool? It's like, no, why are people paying us? Not why do we think, but let's actually ask them. So I think that's super smart. Uros, this has been phenomenal. I think quite a few people are going to watch this and learn a ton for the future. Do you have any final words, especially for the group of people who's just getting into our industry right now?
Don't think that you're behind on everything. I think that right now, even like if somebody's building an AI native company, you're maybe in a better spot than some companies which are bigger, because we're working with one of our customers. They're kind of changing one of the industries, like, because we're under NDA, and they're changing the industry because they're an AI native company. They can do so much more things with 50 people compared to some, let's say, enterprises which have thousands of people, just because they started a fresh company in today's age, and that they can build all of their processes around AI and all of their deployment for the app, for software around AI. So I think that ensuring that you're not scared when you're going into this, but that you actually leverage AI as part of your workflow, and that you can build your company on top of AI, versus all of the other companies need to rethink themselves within, and that's probably going to slow them down. That's probably going to be your competitive edge when you're entering the market.
That was a very unexpected knowledge drop. I agree with that so much. Like, companies that are trying to pivot themselves right now, it's difficult. They have a big advantage because they've already been in the industry, but at the same time, it's very, very difficult to take a big complex structure and turn it into something lean. So I agree with that 100%. Possibly never a better time to start, because you immediately have a big edge over the large companies. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Uros. Thank you for making the time, and I look forward to seeing you at FlowCon.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's always a great time to talk to you.